All right, so today in our math workshop, we're looking at number 9 and number 10. Number 9, Sue has 73 pencils. How many more pencils does she need to get to 119? Raise your hand so you can tell me, what operation are we doing here? What operation, Rachel? We're doing subtraction. So this one is easy to accidentally try to add them together because it says 73 and she wants to get 119. It's not saying we're adding 119 to it. It's saying that's our final amount, correct? So we want to know what is the difference between these two so we know how many are left that she needs. So we're just going to do 119 minus 73. 9 minus 3 is 6. 11 minus 7 is 4. So we should get 46 pencils, which was D. All right, on number 10, on Friday, Anthony ate 0.75 pounds of cherries. On Saturday, he ate 1.8 pounds of cherries. What was the total weight of the cherries Anthony ate? What operation are we doing here, Addison? Addition. Addition, why?
Because it's asking us what was the total of how many cherries Anthony ate.
Okay, so it's asking us for the total, and when we see total, that means I'm putting it all together, so that would be addition. So we have 0.79. Now remember, when I'm adding decimals, what's that number one rule, Trent? Put the decimals in a line together. So there's my decimals. They're in a line. Now I'm just going to fill in that second number. There was a 1 in front. There was an 8 behind. When I add those up, I have a spot that's open. What am I going to put in that spot, Charlie?
0.
A 0. 9 plus 0 is? 9. 7 plus 8 is 15. I'm going to carry the 1. Don't forget, those decimals are in a line. Keep them in a line. And then 1 and 1 is 2. All right, 2.59 pounds of cherries, which is choice A. All right, so I'm going to pause the recording. I want you to get out your homework and a grading utensil and pass it to the person behind you. If you're in the back, it goes up to the front, and we're going to grade these. All right, so our notes for today are going to be number 18. Guys, we're not doing anything new in the notes. All right, this is going to be number 18. Well, let's number that. Make sure you put your name. Carson?
I don't have the paper.
All right, pass it back. All right. Shh. Guys, I need us to cooperate completely at this point, okay? All right, so we have number 18. Again, just to reiterate, the notes for the study guide look exactly like the study guide. Our study guide looks exactly like the test. So now not only do you have a study guide to use to prepare for the test, we're going to do this together, which is also laid out like the test. I've just written it out on a piece of notebook paper quickly this morning for us to do together. All right. So the first thing says to convert to a fraction or a mixed number. So I have these decimals and I want to make them a fraction or a mixed number. All right. When we're doing this, remember our goal is we're going to take whatever is behind the decimal. So behind the decimal on this problem, I have 375. And that's going to be on the top of my fraction. So I'm drawing my fraction bar with 375 on top. 5 is in the thousandths place. So I'm going to put 1,000 on the bottom. Remember, if you don't know your place value, if you're not familiar with that, you're going to put your 1. And then I know how many zeros because I have 3 numbers behind the decimal. Okay? So now that I have 375 over 1,000, I'm going to ask myself, can this simplify? Raise your hand. Cooper? It can simplify by 5. Remember, if it ends in 5 and 0, the easiest number to use is 5. So I'm going to divide this by 5. Okay? 375 divided by 5. If I need to go over here to the side, I can. So I'm going to kind of move that over so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm doing 5 into 375. This isn't a part of my problem. This is just to help me with that division if I can't do it in my head. So 5 goes into 37. 7 times. 7 times 5 is? 35. When I subtract, I get 2. Bring down the decimal. 5 goes into 25. 5 times, which gives me 25, so that's where I get my 0. So 375 divided by 5 is 75 over 1,000 divided by 5. Remember I told you one tip for these? Look at those first two numbers. 5 goes into 10 2 times, and then I have 2 zeros to make 200. All right, so I have 75 over 200. All right, even though I've simplified already, I still want to see, can I simplify any more? Addison? I can simplify by 5 again, so I'm going to do 5 again here. Okay, so 75 divided by 5, if I needed to do that to the side, I could. We should get, double check me on this, I think it is 15. All right, if we wanted to go over to the side, we can do that again. And just do 5 into 75. 5 goes into 7 once. 1 times 5 is 5. That gives me 2. 5 goes into 25 5 times. So that's where I'm getting that 15 from. All right, so I get 15 on the top. All right, I'm going to look here at those first two numbers because I know 5 goes into 20. How many times? 4, and then there was a 0 next to that, so I end up with 40. All right, 15 and 40. Trent? Yes, what can I use? 5. I can use 5 again, so I'm going to divide these by 5. Okay. I am running out of room. I'm going to have to start further over. All right, so 15 divided by 5. That one I should be able to do in my head. What do I get? 3. And then 40 divided by 5 is? 8. Is 8. Okay. So I get 3/8 there. Guys, if you simplify once and you can simplify again, you must keep going. Ian? Okay, so what you did was instead of dividing this by 5, you divided by 2. All right, 1,000 divided by 2 is 500. 1,000 divided by 5 is 200. So I know you put divided by 5, but in your head, you were using that wrong number, okay? And that's something we do have to be very careful of. All right, questions about number 1? All right, luckily, number 2 is not going to take up as much room. Number 2 is not going to take up as much room. All right, guys, do y'all see how I have a number in front of that decimal? That means I'm going to have a number in front of the fraction. So I'm going to write the 8 really big because when I have a whole number in front of a fraction, it's a big number in front, correct? And then I have the fraction in the middle of that number. All right, so make sure that's how we're setting up the next one. All right, why am I putting 8 in front? Because it's in front of my decimal. Are we okay with that? Okay. Whatever is behind the decimal goes on top. This time, what's behind the decimal? 7, so that's the only thing I'm putting on top. What place value is that? The 10th, so I'm going to put a 10. Remember, there's one number after the decimal, so that 1 0 makes a 10. All right? 7 and 10, can that simplify at all? No. So do I need to do anything else? We're done. That's it. All right? Number 3, again, I have a whole number. There's a number in front of the decimal, so even though it's big, that 36 is going to go in front of my fraction. It's in front of the decimal, it goes in front of the fraction. Then I'm going to draw my fraction bar. All right? Behind the decimal is what goes on top. So in this case, what's going to go on top? 52. All right, what place value is that 2 in? The hundredths, so I'm going to put 100 here. Okay, and remember, there are 2 numbers after the decimal. The 2 zeros is what makes 100. Okay. We want to check if we can simplify. Can I simplify this one, Joseph?
Simplify by 2.
I can divide by 2. Those are even numbers, so I'm going to divide them by 2. Am I doing anything to the whole number? No. 36 stays there, so make sure you write your 36. We have to have that in our answer. 52 divided by 2. Does anyone have that, Trent? 26. And then 100 divided by 2 is? 50. All right? So, is that going to be my final answer here? No, raise your hand if you can tell me. What do I need to do now, Jesslyn? Those are still even numbers, so we're going to do 2 again. All right, again, I'm going to go down below since I am running out of room. So I have 36 26 divided by 2. Joseph? 13. And 50 divided by 2 is? 25. All right, 13 and 25 will not simplify anymore, so we are done. Okay? Are there questions about 1, 2, or 3? That's the first part of the study guide. That's the first part of your test. Make sure we're comfortable with working those. There are 3 on the study guide. There are 3 on the test. Make sure you know them, okay? All right. The next ones, 4 and 5. Converting to a decimal. Now, these are a little bit harder, I've seen, for some of us. When I'm converting to a decimal, I want you to remember this is when you are doing your dividing. Okay, when I'm converting to a decimal, that's when I'm going to divide. 8 is in front of my fraction, which means 8 is going to be in front of my decimal. So do y'all see how here's where I'm going to write my final answer. I already wrote the 8 there. So am I going to do anything with the 8 now? No, it's done. It's taken care of. Okay? I do need to work with that 1 and 3. We're going to be doing division. All right? 3 is my denominator, so 3 is going to go at the door. 1 has to go in the house. Every single time. The number on the bottom is what's at the door. Okay? All right. 3 won't go into 1. But remember, I'm wanting to make it a decimal. So we're just going to add a decimal and a 0. All right, when I add that decimal, I know I'm putting it inside, but we're going to just take it automatically and raise it to the roof. So I'm going to go ahead and put that decimal on top. So now this is really saying 3 will go into 10. Now can 3 go into 10? Yes. Absolutely. So 3 will go into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. When I subtract, I get 1. Remember, when it's decimals, we are going to keep adding zeros. I can't put that 1 on top because am I making this a fraction? No. So we're going to add another 0, bring it down, which makes 10. 3 will go into 10. 3 times. I get 9 again. When I subtract, I get 1 again. This is going to happen again and again and again and again. So, since it's repeating, remember that's when we would put that bar on top. Now, in my work, I have 2 3s. But was it the second 3 that's repeating? No, it's that first 3, right? So when I write my answer, I'm going to do 8.3, and I only need one of them, because that's going to go on forever and ever and ever. So I just need the 1 3 with the bar to show, hey, this 3 happens over and over and over again.
So you only write the number that starts the repeating?
You only write the one that starts the repeating. So like sometimes, guys, you'll have like a decimal that's like 0.56565656. Then I would need 2 numbers, right? I would need the 5 and the 6 both with a bar. But that's the only time that we would have 2 numbers with the bar. Okay? All right. Let's look at number 5. All right, so for number 5, again, here on this one, do I have anything in front of the fraction? No. So am I going to have anything in front of the decimal? No. You can put a 0 if you want, or you can just go ahead and write your decimal. There's nothing in front of it. That's where I'm going to write my final answer. All right, now I'm ready to go ahead and start that division. The denominator, the bottom number, goes at the door, and then 26 is going to have to be in the house. All right. Will 30 go into 26? No, which we expected that because we know we're going to have to make this a decimal. So I add a decimal with a 0, and I go ahead and raise it straight up to the roof. Now can 30 go into 260?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Since I know 3 goes into 26 8 times, that's what I'm going to try here. 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 30 is 8 times 3 is 24. Okay. So when I subtract here, I end up with 20. Add another 0 and bring it down. 30 will go into 200 6 times. 6 times 30 is 180 because we have that extra 0. So 6 times 3 is 18. Add the 0. When I subtract here, I get 2 or 20 because I get 0 minus 0 is 20. add a 0, bring it down. I'm going to end up with 200 again. What's going to happen here? Carson? It's going to repeat. It's going to happen again and again. Which number, the 8 and the 6? Just the 6, because it's just that 200 we're seeing over and over. So my answer here is going to be 0.86 with a bar on the 6. Make sure I can see that the bar is only on the 6. All right? What if it didn't repeat? What if I end up with my subtracting, I got 0? Then I'd just be done, right? All right? Is it okay if you don't have a repeating bar? Yes. Those are just the ones we've had the most trouble with, so those are the 2 I chose to do today with us together. Okay? On the review, there are actually 3 of these. We only did 2 together, but there are 3 on your review for you to practice with, because on the test, there are going to be 3 of those on the test for you to do. Okay? All right. Number 6, 7, and 8. Have I been going? No, y'all can still see all my work, right? Okay, good. Y'all make sure y'all let me know, because I can't see what's on the screen sometimes. All right. So here it just says to simplify. It just says to simplify. Am I making anything a decimal or making it a fraction? We're just going to try to make it smaller. So if I look at 12 and if I look at 15, is there a number that will go into 12 and into 15? Emma? 3. So I'm going to divide these both by 3. Guys, I've seen a lot of people when we get numbers like 12 and 15, if it's even and odd, we say, oh, I can't do it. Remember, 3 will go into those, so we still got to do that. All right, 12 divided by 3 is 4, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. Now, 4 and 5, can that simplify? No, because they're back to back, right? 4, 5, back to back when we count. So that's it. Gabe, question? Now you ready for the next one? Okay. All right, so Gabe, with 11 and 132, all right, what can I use to simplify that, or is it simplified? 11? So guys, 11 is a good number to try, because can anything else go into 11? It's the only thing that's going to work for 11, so I just need to decide, is that going to work for 132?
Yes.
Oh, Ian?
The answer will be 112.
All right, it will work for 132. In fact, that's one of those facts we are supposed to know at the very beginning of the year, the multiplication fact. All right, 11 divided by 11 is 1. All right. I got too many voices right now, okay? Thank y'all. So 11 divided by 11 is 1. Raise your hand if you can tell me, what is 132 divided by 11? Bella? 12. All right, remember, 12 and 11. 12 times 11 gives me 132. So when I divide it, it gives me that as well. Yes? Okay. Well, probably because when I was questioning you, I worded it to where it kind of makes you question yourself, doesn't it? Okay. So, number 7, we just get 1/12 there. All right, so on number 8, I have 57 over 58. All right, raise your hand if you can tell me, how do I know? Will this simplify or will it not? And what number are we going to use, or how do you know? Carson? We can't simplify because they're back-to-back on the number line. When I count, it's 57, then 58 comes right after it. So what we would do here, if it's already simplified, is you can write not possible, or we can write simplified, or you can just rewrite that number as 57 over 58 and circle it. Okay? I don't want you circling the problem, just rewrite the number and circle it, or I'm just going to write simplified because it's already simplified. Okay? Yes? I don't want you to just leave it blank because I don't want to think that you skipped the problem. Does that make sense? So if you just don't write anything, I might think that you skipped it. So either just rewrite the fraction the way it is, because can we do anything to it? No. Or you can write simplified. Okay? Because it's already done. All right. For the past 2 days, we've been adding and subtracting. Now, I only have 2 on here for us to look at together. But on the test, I think there are... I think y'all have 7. There are 7 on my advanced test for y'all to add and subtract, okay? It's on the study guide as well. All right. Number 9. I have 8 over 21 minus 2/7. Remember, to add and subtract, they have to have the same bottom number. So what's a good bottom number to use for 21 and 7? Emma? 21. And remember, we can go over to the side, and I can write my denominators. I have 7 and 21. All right, I'm going to start with the smaller number. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 3 is 21. And there's where we see that match. So that's definitely what we want to use. And it's the smallest one we can use. All right, so am I going to do anything to 8 over 21? No, it's already matching. So we have 8 over 21 minus 7. What do I need to multiply it by so that it matches? What am I going to multiply so that it matches? Emma? 3. Remember, when we're thinking of matching, we think of multiplying. All right, so on the bottom it says 7 times 3, which is 21. Sorry, and I wrote 12 down here on this bottom for some reason. So we have 21, and then on the top it says 2 times 3, which is 6, okay? So now we have 8 minus 6, which is 2. What's happening on the bottom? Raise your hand. What's happening on the bottom? Emma? Addison, I'm sorry?
The denominator stays.
Denominator just stays. So I get 2 over 21. Even though we're subtracting here, we still want to check and see, can we simplify?
Yes.
No. 2 is the only number that will go into 2. Will 2 go into 21? No. So that one is done. All right, last one, number 10. I have 6 and 9 for my denominators. Guys, again, I know a lot of us can do these in our head, but I'm going to write out those factors of 6 and 9. I'm going to start with 6. Every time I do a factor of 6, I'm going to think to myself, could that work for 9? So 6 times 2 is 12. Can 9 give me a 12? No. 6 times 3 is 18. Can 9 give me an 18? Yes. 9 times what? 2. So I get my two 18s. What's my smallest denominator that I can use? 18. That's going to be the best choice, okay? Do we just want to do 6 times 9? No, because then I'm using 54. Guys, if I start with that denominator at 54, my numbers are going to get really big, which in turn can make it a lot harder than it needs to be. Ian?
I got 36.
Okay, so 36 will work. But again, do you see how I picked 18? And 18 is still smaller, so that one would make it a little bit easier. And have you already worked yours, Ian? All right, in the end, let's just double check, make sure we get the same thing. Because you can use it, you're just going to have to simplify more, and that's fine. Okay? All right, so 6. How am I going to make 6 match 18? Seth? Times 3. And if I do it to the bottom? Do it to the top. How am I going to make 9 match 18? Bella?
2.
Times 2. And if I do it to the bottom? Do it at the top. Okay, so let's write our new problem. 5. 1 times 3 is 3. 6 times 3 is 18 plus 8. 7 times 2 is 14. 9 times 2 is 18. Okay? So my denominators match. That's my goal. All right, let's go ahead and put our whole numbers together. 5 and 8? 13. 3 plus 14? 17 over 18. Can 17 and 18 simplify? No. So guys, sometimes your adding and subtracting really are easy. Okay? We've done a lot of the kind of harder, challenging problems together, so I wanted to show, like, hey, sometimes we get some easy stuff, and that's okay. All right, so I'm going to pass out our study guide now. Our study guide, you should be able to follow that to work each problem.